Oh, good evening. Welcome back to the Student StarCraft AI tournament. This will be almost the 100th video, the reports, the weekly reports, so it has been going on since forever. But let that not deter you. We've got a great game this week, and well, I dropped into it about halfway through, just now on stream. And I thought, well, let's see how it got to be this way. So here we are. It's Pineapple Cactus versus Locutus, and Locutus is still the number 2 in AI land at the moment, and Pineapple Cactus is somewhere around 30th place or something. It's really not too high up there. And we see Locutus starting out with a very nice SimCity. That's bloody well done, and worker-wise it's more than doubling the poor old Pineapple Cactus. Cactus has got a handful of Zerglings, but versus this kind of SimCity it's not really working. Could run round the back, but the pathfinding is not all that advanced, so not going to happen. And now taking a natural, and we have still only got 11 workers for Pineapple, now 12. Some workers are being built, but I think there is only one hatchery, so that's going to take a while to catch up. And Locutus is going right into macro mode. 3 gateways, going to be 4 Robo Bay, lots of units. Army-wise, it's 10 versus 5, and although the natural for Zerg is up, it's going to take forever to play catch up. The worker count is half of that of Protoss, and there is no... well, there is no third yet, and Locutus is trying to move some goons about, but these goons over here are stuck, so that's odd. And it looks like these goons are sort of stuck. So here come a couple of goons, they clean up a couple of Zerglings, and they will catch an Overlord, a couple of Sunkens, and that's alright. These 2 goons and perhaps the Zealot are stuck and are blocking all the production, which consists now of 7 gateways and a Robo Bay. Third base meanwhile being taken, and Locutus has got a third of its own with a pylon defense, which is pretty good, but as of yet there is only 1 gateway producing units which are going to fight, and they have not got the firepower to deal with any kind of a defensive setup like this for the time being. So, a couple of Lings being killed, Protoss being quite efficient at that. +1 is done, no armor upgrades for Zerg, and that's a very quick hive. 37 workers, 0 army and a hive, and lots of Sunkens. So the game plan for Pineapple is being executed despite Locutus's, well, strange behavior. Locutus almost 100 supply ahead, so macro-wise leading by a mile. And we've got an Ultra, so we've got 1 army unit for Zerg, it's 4 supply, that's the Ultra. And that's about it. We've got Ultra Cavern, let's look at the upgrades. No, well, that's about it for the upgrades as well. And still here, all the goons neatly arrayed are stuck. Now, is there production at the colonies? No, there isn't. And Locutus hasn't seen an update in quite some time. Hope to get the update for AIIDE when that is going to go live. And now this one Ultra without the armor upgrade obviously is going to fall to the goons. And the goons, well, they kill the units, but they can't really break through here. And that's a suicidal defiler, always good to have. Upgrade-wise, Consume nearly ready, Protoss is upgrading steadily, and Zerg is just doing all kinds of wacky things. Got 1,500 K minerals in the bank, and some gas, but not all that much gas. 3 workers here on gas, 3 there, and 2 here, and nothing there, and lots of gas-intensive units. Again, an Ultra is getting killed by only 3 goons, so micro-wise, oh here, that's a nice army, and that's what I like about Pineapple Cactus. It likes to gather up armies, and only when the army is complete try and attack. Now, Purple Wave, of course, is Locutus is maxed, and all these Dragoons are flipping out majorly, and it's pretty weird. And here comes Pineapple Cactus. And this goon, oh, and the goon leaves The goon leaves. Oh, we've got Swarm. That's pretty good. Versus all these goons. That must be great to be able to engage that. And now with 2 swarms, 3 swarms, swarms all over the place. No consuming going on, although it's done. The Ultra and the Zerglings being somewhat efficient underneath the swarm. And another... the goons, they now move out, except for this one. So the goons are being filtered out piecemeal. And the Zerg army is messing about over here. Still lots of money in the bank, not enough hatcheries, not enough expansions, and Protoss is stuck again. So production tab looks like a hell of a lot of overlords for Zerg, because all the overlords got lost in the middle of the map. And now Protoss is going for a bust of the Sunkens, but here comes the army consisting of a lot of Zerglings and some Ultras. Upgrades, not really. Overlord speed is soon to be done, but no Ultra upgrades. And there is a lot of Zerg, and of course a Defiler, and some Lurkers, so that's going to go well. And these goons, they have some issue moving out on the map. Now morphing a Guardian on the edge of the base of Protoss. That's very strange. Is this going to be another base? Yes, it is, but the Zerg is losing too many units. That's not good at all, and it's producing a hell of a lot of them, and that's always good to see. But although there is a swarm function, it doesn't really compute all that well. Oh, there was a Guardian there which got killed, and now these 2 goons. Oh, and here come oh and God and oh and why, and so lots of units and a lot of potential on Zerg part, but it's a little bit too slow and the units are being wasted at a record speed. And now all the overlords can flee. What's Zerg building? Zerg is building a handful of units at the time, because the main will be pretty much out. Natural 2, and Protoss still stuck on, well, whatever. It's got 10k, 7k banked. That's a lot. And the goons are fighting pretty effectively, and although there are swarms, the Zerglings are just too badly microed and not using the swarm at all to pose any kind of a problem for the goons. The goons, they take some shield damage, and here goes another Defiler. So Pineapple Cactus is throwing away a lot of money to 5 goons, and only when an Ultra is... the Ultra gets stuck on the Zergling. It's really too sad, because there is a lot of potential in this Zerg. And, well, oh, here we go, nice fight, and now the SimCity's broken down. So is there an observer overhead? Yes, I think there is, and although there are quite a lot of Lurkers, the rest of the army is chasing one goon over here, and now the contain is lost, and Lecutus immediately building 10 goons and sending everything out to kill Zerg on the map. Lots of Lurkers being morphed in an unsafe place. That's unfortunate. And of course there is an observer overhead, and this one Ultra doesn't. Everything that pops gets one-shotted, and that's not good. With another swarm, nice defensive position. Some Lurkers under swarm, that's good. Lots of goons falling, and Lecutus just has got so much production. Oh, and now Pineapple Cactus is building large rounds of Zerglings and Hydras. And these goons, they get themselves skewered on these Lurker spines. And that was just a little bit too much. But there is still a sizable goon army, and it's breaking down the natural wall. And the swarms are out. But the goons, they do try to get themselves killed, and they are quite effective at that. So lots of blue soup all over the place. But the third is being engaged, and the natural's broken. The main is being attacked, and this base is not being attacked, but just being camped by one probe, and units are being sent. The Lecutus suffering a little, but it's got such a huge bank, and is building even more gateways now. That's really absurd. It's got 4, 8, 12, 13, 14 gateways, nothing out here, and the army is still maxed. The composition is nearly pure goon. Oh, it's exactly pure goon with a couple of observers for good measure. And Pineapple Cactus is out of the water, or, well, out of its natural habitat. It's only building 3 pairs of wings at the time, and this can only go one way. So nice contain, but failed to do any real damage, and this must have been done by Guardian. So I'm going to call the GG and hop into the next game, which will be Banana Brain versus Steamhammer. And this week, it's one of these weeks where I just don't have anything of an excuse for a theme. I've just had a look at which bots have gotten updated, and everything's basically waiting for the big tournament AIIDE to start in, well, the deadline is next week. So that's going to release a lot of updates on our server as well, I fear. So that will be good. But for the time being, it's not really all that much which is happening. So I just took a couple of games and saw which bots have been updated. Willy T working hard, Howpan, Crazio pushed another update, and Simplicity, we'll be watching that. We saw beautiful, beautiful drops last week. We have some games of it this week. And Banana Brain, and then it's all updates from last week. So not too much going on. ELO-wise, Crazio on top, very dominant again. Although Locutus is a very good second. Banana Brain lagging behind that. Purple Wave still there. So it's a lot of Protoss, and Ironbot dropped to 5th place. And TSMU doing good. Woolybot doing very good. Purple Swarm, oh dear. And where is it? Steamhammer doing well. Microwave, we'll be expecting good updates from them as well. Be Reaver, Killerbot, and Neo Edmund Zerg, and then basically the rest. So, without further ado, let's watch some skirmishing between Zealots and Zerglings. These Zerglings, they head right back home, and they would have better served their purpose in a staging area a lot closer to the enemy base. And now workers are being engaged, so I think that Zerg will have this. Steamhammer's only got 2 bases. Oh, but there is a Corsair, which may just be the saving grace for Banana Brain, but that will mean that we'll have to kill a couple of overlords pretty fast. Oh, and a couple of Zealots, they do stem the tide, and these Zerglings are pretty much damaged. So where are they heading? Heading right back here. And by now, Steamhammer is losing a lot of overlords, so I think Banana Brain is sort of stabilizing. And army-wise, it's got 1 Corsair, and there is no anti-air at all. Hydra Den is there, but by now Steamhammer is very solidly supply blocked, and that's the last overlord. So once this falls, Steamhammer's down to 2 supply, and that's not good. So Steamhammer is building 3 overlords at once, and I really much doubt that it's ever going to be unsupply stack ever again. In this scenario, you'd ideally like to build, oh, there goes the next one. You'd very much like to build a spore colony and build your overlords over here, and if you've got a Hydra, let it attack the Corsair for reasons. So these Zerglings have regained some health. The Zealot army is prepping, and this looks like some kind of Templar tech kind of thing. No more Corsairs, despite the effectiveness being huge. And now there are 2 overlords over here and 1 over there, so Steamhammer seems to have stabilized somewhat. It's got a lot of money, hasn't got enough hatches, but with only 1 Hydra over here and 1 over there, it's not going to pose any kind of a threat to these Zealots. Banana Brain was down in workers a lot, so that was good, and that was, oh, that was the observatory, and this is the Templar Archives. So, well, the Corsair is still doing good, and Steamhammer has got a lot of low drone count. That's really hampering it at the moment. Needs more hatcheries, and this must be some kind of tech building, perhaps a spire. But Banana Brain will have superior ground forces in a minute, and the only thing that can really keep Banana Brain from winning this game is the problem that it hasn't got a natural yet. So it's doing everything at 1 base with a lot of tech, and here comes the 2nd Corsair. And something must be done about that shortly, because Steamhammer can't really spread its wings. Is, well, sort of starved, only 16 workers, 2 hatches, and it's really the amount of hatches and workers which is keeping it down right now. And this Overlord is not being protected as well as it could, but the 3 Corsairs, they don't really dare engage the Spore, and with the Scourge Micro, oh, and that Corsair snuffed it as well. That's pretty good actually, so Steamhammer in an okay position as long as it can keep Banana Brain off 2 bases. Banana Brain's got 30 workers, so steadily building workers and Zealots, and here come some Scourge, so that means that this bunch will be cleaned up over here. and losing an Overlord for no good reason. That's just not, that's sloppy. And it's a very hard situation dealing with these Corsairs. But the main problem is, and another one is going to catch a lot of fire. And the Hydras are not being microed as well as they could. The Hydras they have got speed, the Zealots have got it too. So the Hydras should be okay versus the Zealots, but there is just no... Oh, here we... Scourge are hard to use. That must be said, and wasting Overlords like this, it's not going to... It's not working. So Steamhammer is doing a lot of things right, but in the bigger picture, it's doing a lot of things wrong. So the Zerglings aren't fighting at the moment, and the Zealots just walk in, kill all the fighting units, and the Sunkens haven't got enough firepower. The Corsairs don't even... the Corsairs can't even... But once this Sunken is down, the Corsairs will be in there, and Steamhammer will have fought an okay opening, but... yeah, there you go. So this, as they say, Spire going down, and without any forces, 4 workers, natural being completed by Banana Brain, Steamhammer nobly bites the dust, and let's see what kind of upgrades will be pushed for AIIDE. Another bot which got updated is Fifoy. I was going to call it Legend, wasn't I? So Legend Random, and it's playing as a Zerg, so that's pretty good. And I thought, well, let's see how it fares against good old Ice Labs, and Ice Labs is, of course, a force to be reckoned with. Has been overtaken by a lot of bots recently, but is still pretty, very, very good. So Legend going for a lot of Zerglings and is going for some kind of an attack, and is going to roam the map in the least efficient way possible. Ice has got a pocket of Marines, and Legend is building more Zerglings, but the Zerglings are not joining the main army, and these Zerglings are scouting in all kinds of ways, but not the right one, and that's giving Ice a lot of time to build a tank and a bunker. And that's going to be another bunker, so I think Ice will be pretty damn safe versus a handful of Zerglings. And here come the Zerglings, and that bunker didn't even get scratched. So I think that Ice will be very happy with that. Legend only's got 4 workers, and they are doing all kinds of wacky things. So looks like a Legend got broken during the last update. And Ice, well, I don't think Ice walled itself in, and then of course it can lift the barracks, so will be good. And Legend has got 2 workers on minerals, 1 on gas, and 1 is... I don't know what it's doing. We've got an extra extractor over here already, we've got no natural. The workers are being balanced, that's good, but with 4 versus 51 workers, 1 versus 2 bases, this cannot go well for very long, and Ice is sitting back, and that's one of the signs of an older bot. Last update was 5 years ago by now. That's really old. So these older bots, they tended to sit back for a long time, and a more modern AI like that would be something. Let's see if we've got that versus proxy or something. Proxy. Will we have proxy versus Ice? Doesn't look like it. That's a pity, because that would demonstrate the difference between Ice and proxy. Ice is sitting back for, you can't see it because it's blended out, but for 11 minutes, and this is a huge army. So no third, no moving out, although the army supply is considerable, and Legend is... oh god, where are other workers? They are trying to do something over here, but god knows what. It's got a lot of minerals, but I don't really know. Oh, and Ice is taking this base over here, that's always a good idea. And Legend is completely off the rails, but 2 Zerglings do find the command center. And now the entire Terran army is moving over, too slow, but will kill the enemy base. So yeah, there we go. Legend, back to the drawing board, iron out those errors, and let's see what the other Zerg of the moment, Simplicity, is doing. We saw a glorious drop, Not really a doom drop, but it was a very substantial drop with a lot of units, and it hurt the enemy plenty. So let's see how it's going to fare. Now we see 2 hatches, going to be a pool, and going to be another hatch. So always build a lot of hatches if you're a Zerg, and some defensive structures as well if you know that the enemy's coming. And it seems to have predicted that Madmix was going to push. With 2 Sunkens, I think, versus this number of Marines, you are in an okay shape to hold that. But Madmix is sending out lots and lots more units, so that's going to be... well, I'd really like to shore up these defenses somewhat, and with another Sunken, I think that is going to happen. That is a lot of Marines, and of course there will be an academy. And Madmix Terran is decent enough to know that you've got to have medics and fire bats with this. And the 3 Sunkens versus a lot of Marines are going to fight now, and I think that the Marines will bite the dust or get killed completely. And now we've got a Hydra as well, some Zerglings too, and wow, this is Simplicity playing it very, very safe. Has got a lair. If we look at the upgrades, we've got Lurk Attack prepping, and with Lurk Attack this is going to be a Spire, I think, I don't know. And Madmix is going to build more barracks, more units. Upgrade wise, Stim of course, and no eBay, so no +1/+1 yet. But we may see that soon. So with 4 Sunkens and a healthy one in the front, that's always good. No, that wasn't a Spire, that was an Evo. And a couple of Lurkers. So is there a Comsat? Yes, almost. And no, there is not one yet. And now with Stim and... oh, that's a very sneaky position for a Lurker. Madmix is going to almost lose a Lurker, and the scan goes off, but in order to reach the Lurker they have to wade through all these spines from the Sunkens, and that was a very cunningly positioned Lurker, if I have to say so. And I don't have to say so, but I still do it anyway. The Marines, they out-micro the Lings, and the Medics, they heal a lot of them, and now only the Lurkers, they deal sufficient damage to take apart this small Marine force. Now, Simplicity is in a good position, but I would be much happier if it were to macro a little bit more. Defensively, it's doing okay. And you see Overlord speed prepping and +1, that's good. But these Zerglings, of course, versus Fire Bats with Stim and Medics, it's just not going to work. Madmix building a lot of bunkers and is going for some upgrades as well, and a 3rd base. And as a Zerg, if your 3rd is later than that of the Terran, you are pretty late. So here come the Lurkers. And they burrow, and the scan goes off, but still a lot of damage. The supporting units are too late. This Lurker just survives. That's a reminder that you always need some supporting units with your Lurkers, because their firepower is immense. But if there is nothing on top of them, they are quite vulnerable, although they've got quite a few hit points. It's not easy to use. Oh, and the Hydras have so many hit points, that's really awesome. And this Lurker is now doing a lot of damage. 1 Fire Bat, of course, by itself cannot kill it. These 3 Fire Bats, they try, but they can't really. And that's just a lot of damage done. The scan goes off. The Marines sort of half-heartedly attack it. Now the 3rd base starting for Simplicity. Simplicity has got drop nearly done, that's good, but macro-wise it's just too slow, as Madmix is already starting its 4th. So Madmix has got a lot of money and has got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 racks, and the factory and everything's flashing. Oh, 7, and another bunker, that's always a good idea. And now Simplicity has got half the worker count. The army count is okay, but the army is not really being used as much as it could have been. And Lurkers, of course, they can fight infantry pretty effectively, but they need to make contact, and then you need to have good micro. So right now lots of comsats, so that will make the Lurker weapon a little less efficient than it was ages ago. But let's see. Oh, Hive starting, that's pretty good. And now, oh, this is not a good bridge to take. The Hydra's on top of the Lurkers. The Lurkers are firing at record speed. All the medics die, and oh, that makes his army taking a very grave hit. And now the Hydras are after the infantry, and that's an unusual combat. But with their range and speed and DPS, Hydras can clean up a lot of Marines. Oh, and this is an excellent poke at the third. The third is barely defended. There is no bunker there. And once the Lurkers are down... Ooh, the Lurkers should get down! Oh, get down! And they can clear up a lot of Terran units. And somehow they don't really recognize... Oh, a science vessel by Matmix. That's pretty good. But now 4-5 Lurkers on the ramp. And leapfrogging down the hill. That's so very deadly. Terran is losing a lot of units. Fourth base started defended by Zerg. 3 Sunkens over here at the third, and Zerg is getting into macro mode, and of course we have seen it. There are a lot of upgrades, adrenal glands, Overlord range is prepping, and we've got Overlord speed and drop ability, so will that come into play as well? The Wraith is doing some damage, but it's taking forever to kill 5 Lurkers. And meanwhile the Lurkers are doing a hell of a lot of damage. That cannot be denied. Now we've got 2 Wraiths, and one of them just buggers off to go for some other exploit on the other end of the map. But still 4 Lurkers. And now the Terran infantry is doing a lot of damage, but so many Lurkers and bio units getting killed. Now 2 Lurkers remain, and medics, SCVs. Oh, and this one decides to run for it, but its micro is not too good and it dies. So Zerg here is back now with more Lurkers and Hydras, and there is no concerted Terran effort at this moment. There is a lot of infantry on the way and in bunkers, but at this particular point there isn't all that much. And now some Zerglings have found the SCVs over here, and Matmix is being set on from all sides, and the third is... oh, this is the fourth. The fourth is being torn down. And the barracks are killed, the scan goes off, but there is just nothing here to kill these Lurkers. And this position has not been made impregnable by a couple of bunkers and turrets, so it may fall as well once these Lurkers start to rock up. This base has been torn down, the Lings try to make their way in there, but there is a bunker and some infantry, lots of bunkers on the high ground, some bunkers over here, but it's just that the general bases... Oh god, no, I missed that. So, while the battle was raging over here, the science vessel taking a lot of fire. Let's see where... oh, we've got Ultras. We've got multiple Ultras already. That's very good. These Lings, they were here, and here comes the drop. Here comes the drop, and it's all over the Terran base, and look at how many units are in those Overlords. There is damage galore with these Zerglings. It's 2 Overlords worth of Zerglings, and although there are some fire bats to help mop them up, they've got the adrenal glands, they've got the speed, and they've got oh, the +1 was just starting, so haven't got that. But the entire Terran base is carved to pieces, and the Overlords are now on their way back. And here comes the death train. Simplicity is really not honouring its name much at the moment. And all the bases have got a spore colony as well, so defensively Simplicity is okay. A little bit more aggressive macro in the early stages would do wonders, but as is, it is growing into a very powerful AI, and look at the defensive prowess of Matmix. The ramp is being held at all costs. There is not a scan available, mainly because there is only 1 command center left, so these Lurks will have free range, and the Ultra is doing its best as well. So there you go. So many Zerg units. And I don't know why they are congregating in the main base. Simplicity is maxed. It's really swinging around the map with large amounts of units. And it's got a glorious army. There are Zerglings everywhere. There is a large force here waiting to pounce on this poor defenseless hatchery. And look at all the forces being ferried over. It's really absurd, and upgrade-wise could be better. Lots of money in the bank, and here comes the assault on the refinery, and it's going down in record speed. That was very well done, Simplicity. And Simplicity has carved up the main base. There is still one lurker going at this poor base over here. And Mad Mix is, well, what can it do at this point? And I really don't know what these units... Oh, here comes another drop. Lots of overlords being filled. Really a lot. They keep gobbling up units, but then what are they going to do? Because the main's sort of gone, and this one lurker's got everything well under control. So, oh, here come the overlords, and that's... Let's count them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Surely not. That's 11 overlords full of units, and it's a little bit... It's too bad that they won't reach the enemy before the main Zerg host will hit the base and tear it to shreds, but if you're talking about a good drop, if you do about 90 supply worth of... well, now, how much do they carry? They carry about 4 each, so 40, 50 supply worth of units. Oh, and we've got a thingy, a supply depot. Oh, and they go, oh no, they all go the wrong way. And then the overlords bugger off and then the entire army retreats again. So that was a pretty good drop, but close but no cigar. And here, oh wow, this is pretty ridiculous. The killing blow is not being dealt for quite a long... And here comes some... No, they go back again, and here they are again. Oh, and finally they find it and they kill it. Oh, good show. But Simplicity, very well done. Good show, really. So, another. And I thought, well, after seeing Pineapple Cactus play so well against the Cutus, although that particular AI was hampered a little bit by walling itself in on defective Goon Micro a little bit, I thought, well, let's see how Pineapple is going to fare against the Terran, which is being improved on quite a lot. It's Willy T. So, Willy, starting out with a lot of bios, going to be in Academy, and that's pretty cute, and some Zerglings with some micro stuff going on. And Willy T being pretty safe with a handful of Marines and a medic, and now a Firebat. So versus Zerglings, not a care in the world, I would say. Going for a Hydra Den and being very slow with the third. Willy T is going for a very strong push. And the question is, if there is a lair and a Hydra Den, will there be lurkers? And yes, there will be lurkers. Will they be in time? There are some lurkers prepping, but will they be on time? It's hard to say. There is a comsat, there are 2 scans in it, and the lurkers are all being killed as they morph to finish. They burrow, and they are dealing a lot of damage. The Firebats and SCVs, some Zerglings come over on top, and these 2 lurkers may have just saved Pineapple Cactus Bacon, and that is very well done. Now a defensive turret is coming up, but these 2 lurkers, they ought to get medals the size of sausage plates. It's really something. Nice hold. Willy T is back to gathering another army. Still no natural, and a third now by Pineapple Cactus. Pineapple Cactus has only got 18 workers and ought to have more hatcheries, because so many times Zerg, they do only build 1 hatchery per base, and that's just not enough. You haven't got the production capacity. Oh, and now the lurkers have been ferried over to here, and with only 1 comsat, with 3 scans in it, I think. Oh dear. Yeah, that's a nice scan. And killing 2 lurkers with 1 scan, now 2 lurkers with 2 scans, that's pretty good. And Pineapple Cactus is overextending a little bit, but drawing 2 scans from 1 comsat was good enough, I would say. Some turrets being thrown up as well, and no more bases being taken by Zerg, and Zerg now has got 3 hatcheries, but still that 4 finally, and this is going to be another one. So that's always good, but could be built a little bit earlier. Oh, now we've got a muter, so we've got a bit of a game on our hands, and Willy T is on the defensive. And Willy T, what is it doing? Willy T is not really building anything, it looks like. Oh, it's building 1 Marine now. And some upgrades. Lots of upgrades, but no fighting units. And although Pineapple Cactus only got a very minor army supply, that's Pretty weird. Lots of turrets all over the place, with 2 in-base hatches doing okay in that department. That's going to be another. Worker-wise, doing okay. Willie T still 24. Oh, and the Mutas, they come in to battle with the Marines. That Stint Marines with medic complement is not something you'd ideally like to take on with only 2 Mutas. And the command center is being planted, and or not. And more lurkers are slowly being rocked up to the front. Willie T has got quite a formidable army. It's still got more than the Zerg, but Zerg is now building hatches all over the place. Auto speed it up just a tiny little notch, because otherwise it's going to take forever. And well, Willie T can't really get out and build a base. That's sad. Well, for Willie T it is. For the Pineapple Cactus is relatively good news. And it's abandoning 2 lurkers at the ramps. The combat simulator is being rather wacky. 2 tanks with siege mode being snipped by these Mutas, but not really too much damage being done. And the 1 comsat is really running out. There is 1 scan left, but the lurkers are all gone, so that's not really that much of a problem anymore. 4th base is done by Cactus. And Cactus is good to go, but it really ought to find better places to morph lurkers, because that's just wasting them. And although you are blocking the Terran advance a bit, it's just not going to work. So find a safe spot to morph lurkers. Seems to be the exercise of the day. And then get some army together to do damage. And that's a hell of a lot of upgrades and tech. But, oh well, the Terran army just turned tail, went home, and is now contemplating the construction of the natural with all the army in the main base. So, no, that's not going to be another base. That isn't going to be another base either. And Zerg is really taking it slow. 50 workers is okay, but the macro could be... Oh, okay, leave that to one side, shall we? The macro is excellent. We've got a handful of defilers, a hell of a lot of fighting units, and the map is slowly turning into a... an hourglass of streams of white everywhere. There are overlords over all the expansions. Not all the expansions are taken by Zerg. That could be improved upon. And lurkers are still being wasted at atrocious rates. But have we got Consume? Consume is nearly done. And again, a lurker egg being wasted. Willie T moving out with 50 army supply, and I think that will be hard for Zerg to stop it, because Zerg hasn't really got a plan, but it has got a lot of forces. And the defilers Consume must be ready, but the defilers are not doing anything, and yes, good swarm. That's excellent. Very good, and now cast 1 more on the tanks and run some Zerglings over and you'll be golden. But that's quite a nice hold for Zerg, and where there was a 50 supply Terran army, there is now only 30 of that left, and the 3rd base is not being hindered, although there was an overlord over there. Zerg is ignoring it for the time being, starting another base, and again a nice army troop movement is so beautiful if you've got so many units. Okay, well done. Well done, sir. Nice swarm. But the 3rd is going to be the target du jour, and well, that target is going to be stamped out relatively quickly, and I think that's a good decision. Because the main is getting low for Willie, and then it will be 1 base versus the map, and although Zerg isn't taking all that many bases itself and still wasting a relatively large amount of units on the combat sim and not having a safe place to morph lurkers, oh, these Mutas are doing excellent work, because there is no air cover, and that's just 10 tanks up for grabs. Oh, and here come the Zerglings. There is not enough anti-air, and it's 60 versus 20 army supply, but Terran with a last-ditch effort, with some air forces, with a couple of marines and a medic. Oh, but there is a guardian overhead now, and you can see Pineapple Cactus is really growing into a mean... Oh, it's not really lean, but a very mean killing machine, and that's no joke. So 50 workers, it's not all that much. Not really all that many hatcheries, but you can see the production tab is starting to look like something again. The natural is completely overrun. There are guardians, there are lurkers, swarm galore, and that is how you take a ramp. Air forces overhead, lurkers below, Zerglings all over the place. The main is mined out. Willie is in for a bit of a stomping, but there is a lot of potential in Pineapple Cactus, and Pineapple Cactus could macro a little bit more. Perhaps get 25 more workers, take 1 or 2 more bases, and build more hatches. But this is domination. This is a lot of firepower, and Terran can't do anything to help it. If you look at this production tab, there are so many mutas. There is a congestion of fighting units trying to get into the enemy base, and once they do, they deal out the damage by the bucket load. It's really glorious to see. We'll be watching Pineapple Cactus grow, and hopefully we're going to see a lot more updates still. So next game up, and yes, Lucas Moravec still working, and let's see how it fares against Mad Mix Zerg. There are quite a lot of Zerg games, so that's good. I've got one more, and then a TV random and a TVP, I think, so that's good. Mad Mix Zerg is going for the pool first. That's always a good idea. The scouting probe is doing something ridiculous, and there is a nice sunken colony over here, which is going to be morphed right now, but the Zerglings killed the probe already, and Lucas is going for a 2-gate. Always a good idea. Build units, you can't go wrong there. Zerg is wasting a lot of drones on defensive structures, and could have paid for a natural with that. But then again, it's quite a defensive setup, and if there is going to be some kind of a 2-gate with Zealots not going off to a wild Zergling chase, you might as well have some Sunkens. So Zealots are for the time being contained. But here they go, and the Overlord is beating back to base, and now Zerg is pretty glad that it has got all these Sunkens at the natural, and oh no, they are still at the main. And that's a quite nice defensive setup. That's going to be Lair. Perhaps we get some Spire going, but that's already the Cyber Core. And you can see this army setup bifurcate. Protoss has got 16 and Zerg's only got 5, 4.5, losing a Zergling here and there. So for the time being, Protoss in a relatively good position. That's going to be another gateway. And once the first goons will hit the map, and the natural for Zerg is very, very low. Zealots, Zerglings and Zealots, no natural still. This is going to be something. Spire, yes, very well done. Zerglings and Zealots, and they're going to dance a little bit. We've got a drone. It's going to take the base over here because the natural is not safe. Good estimation there. And the Muta, of course, can't deal with 2 Corsairs, so that's unfortunate. This Muta, of course, is waiting its turn, and it's going to die in its turn. But very unfortunate. Micro will not help it. You are going to need a Spore or lose a lot of Overlords, and if they're going to go into the corner, they're going to take a lot of damage. But no natural for Lucas, and that's strange. Lucas is, well, could micro a little bit better, but the macro is really lagging at this moment. Queen's Nest, and there is nothing more effective is a nice slip of the tongue, but these Corsairs have got everything well under control, and the Zealots, they just need to gather a little bit of courage to wade into the main. Lots of Sunkens though on the high ground, with a couple of Zerglings to shield them off. Could be pretty deadly, and still no natural for Protoss. Mad Mix has got a base, and Overlord's being killed, so this game sort of got off the rails. Lucas has got a lot of money and has now built a natural, which is good. The Zealots though, they waver and take a lot of unnecessary damage from, here come the Corsairs again. Now, once the Corsair number reaches a point like this, there is not much fun for Zerg to be had. And the first Muta which comes out again, the second one, they will get killed. And of course these Corsairs, they regenerate HP with their shields as well. Now a goon with a couple of Zealots is rocking over. This base is not being used for economic activity, just being there for production, which is good, but a 10 workers 1 base situation versus a Protoss with 2 bases isn't sustainable for too long, and Zerg is going to be supply blocked relatively quickly again. Got the chance to build a Muta, So that's good. And Lucas can't really make its way up the ramp despite having far superior numbers. Is not taking the third, is not really quick with any kind of definitive game-changing technology. Oh, there is a drone has been built over here to mine, that's good. But that makes Zerg really could do a little bit better. Zerg, although is losing the air war time and again, the land war is still being won because this Protoss micro is sort of flawed. Third base now taken by Lucas, so Lucas perhaps will win in the end, but Mad Mix has got this base operational somewhat with 4 workers and now also going to build a sunken of some sort. I'm going to speed it up just a little more because as you can see the Corsair numbers have grown considerably. We've got 14 Corsairs and still Protoss can't really make its way up the ramp, but it's very determined and is now going to kill the first. God, this is so painful to watch. So much damage being done and Lucas can't get his combat simulator. Oh, look at the Corsair! How many have we got? We've got 18 Corsairs. That's quite a lot. And finally the Protoss ground army makes its way up into the enemy base, and once it starts to attack these Sunkens, it will be over very quickly. Now the Corsair fleet has grown to 20. So that's another thing going slightly off the rails. And we are not getting any more Corsairs, so that's good. And this is the base. No, that's the game. Okay, so work to be done. And I thought, well, let's have a look at the other good Zerg. Took Student StarCraft AIIDE Tournament Finals 2017. Let's see how it's going to turn out at AIIDE this year. It's taking a lot of hit points off the Nexus, that's good. And if you want to know how to play Zerg, this is going to be a masterclass. There are three Zealots, they're going after the worker. And Cherry Pie is building workers, defense and hatches and Zergling simultaneously, so that's very well done. Now Banana Brain has got 4 Zealots, they are all going to fall if it's not very careful, and now it will have to defend with workers, and that's going to be rather painful. Only got 2 gateways, losing a pylon, not really supply blocked yet. The workers do kill something, and with 2 Zealots I think that for the time being Banana Brain's pretty safe. And that's also because Cherry Pie didn't follow up with the workers, instead building 3 Sunkens. That's some kind of a misestimation, but as we all know, it's not sitting still behind that. So let's see how it's going to unfold. 2 gateways and lots of tech, so Banana Brain is teching like a madman. It's really bananas how fast that bot is teching at the moment. And with 3 Sunkens it can do quite a lot. And drone wise it's okay, but 16 of them are over here. And only 3 are over here, but now it's got 4 Sunkens. And Banana Brain is a little bit late with the natural. Of course, if you are going for such a lot of technology, it's very hard to get your eco up at the same rate. We've got a Templar archive, so perhaps some kind of a Dark Templar ploy. And Cherry Pie is setting up shop for the early mid-game. We have got a tech building right in front of 2 tech buildings right in front of here. Oh, and this Corsair is killing 2 Overlords for the price of 1. That's very dangerous, and Cherry Pie obviously doesn't really know how to deal with Corsairs yet. And now we've got 2 Corsairs over there and 2 Overlords killed. Cherry Pie is badly supply blocked. And by badly, I really mean badly. 2 Hydras, they do try to protect all the Overlords, and Cherry Pie is now unsupply blocked and is going to produce units. So many hatches, no spores, but we'll have more Hydras soon. Banana Brain is taking advantage of this brief lull in Zerg army production to take another base, and I think that's a good decision, because if you're 1 base up versus a Zerg adversary, that's very good. And here we see the High Templar by Banana Brain. Storm is done. I can't really see how much energy it's got, but I think 1 or 2 storms should be in there, and more gateways are being constructed. So Banana Brain in an okay position. The question now is, when the Corsairs have sort of finished their active career, the question is, what is Banana Brain going to do in a straight-up fight versus Cherry Pie? As you can see, this army, although it's got a lot of supply, it's not the most versatile. There are no goons, there are a couple of Templars, so versus Zerglings should be able to do okay. Let's look at the upgrades. +1 is done, +2 is starting, so that's good. The Zealots are tearing through these Zerglings at record speed, but there is a considerable defensive structure over here, and a third base by Cherry Pie, and you can't let that go on for too long. Cherry Pie can take the entire map. Fourth base by Banana Brain, very nice. And the High Templar are... oh, there is one over here. And God knows where the other one is. Oh, they are over here. And now the Sunkens are getting into play. Some Sunkens may fall, but there is nothing to storm really. Perhaps over here that might be quite deadly. And the High Templar are laying down... oh, that's a storm. At least that's one storm. That's... oh, a cast quarter drone. Very good, but still a little bit expensive. And the Storm Micro... oh, and that's half the HP of one Zergling. The Zealots are doing okay. The Storm Micro could be improved upon, and something took down this base over here. So Banana Brain is doing okay. One Zergling going to town on that pylon, but you can see that the economy of Banana Brain is booming. The Corsairs are over the base again. The Zealots are doing so much damage. These 4 Sunkens, they are still there, 3 of them badly damaged. The Zerglings do what they can, but they simply lack the upgrades. Protoss +2 will be done before Zerg +1 armor is ready. And until that time that Zerg catches up over there, it's going to be pain, pain, and more pain for the poor Zerglings. So Banana Brain defending its expansions, that's very well done. And Cherry Pie is getting a decent army. It's got a hive, taking another base, another 2 bases, and if it can defend those 2 bases, and if these Corsairs can be taken from the sky, it will mean that Cherry Pie will have some room to maneuver, and in that situation it's very, very dangerous. And you can see with half the army supply, Zerg can sort of clean up its base. And the Zealots, which are pestering these bases, that's excellent harassment. It's so hard for Zerg to defend at all points at once. The Muta weapon isn't coming into play, and it's taking a lot of computative power to kill all the harassing units at all the hatcheries. And now the Zealots are coming in, the Zerglings are coming in, and the hatcheries being left alone. These 2 Zealots, I think, could have just killed it. But Zerg now has control of 2 more bases, and you can see that the Protoss army didn't grow as well as the Zerg army. Zerg still at 20, Protoss at 40 still, but Zerg is growing, and with 1 more base, the dangerability of Cherry Pie is increasing enormously. Drones being transferred to the mineral only, that's very good. 2 Reavers are going to pose a bit of a problem. Strike, poor Zergling. And Protoss is now harassing the Zerg base. And Zerg can't really get an army together, and that's very hard. And that's also very good on the part of Banana Brain. Banana Brain is putting a lot of pressure on its Zerg adversary. Only 15 army supply. Protoss is growing with 50. This base is up and running, but still it's hard for Zerg to get any kind of a meaningful army together. 2 Mutas are doing okay, but there are more Corsairs, and the Mutas can't protect their bases at the same time as their overlords. And now there is a Reaver firing on these 4 sunken colonies. So lots of pressure on Zerg, and Banana Brain undeterred, taking more bases, 2 cannons each. Very well done. Might build some production at here as well, because if you get camped at the natural choke, that will mean all your production is cut off from the map. But I think this game is in the pocket. The Sunkens are gone. There are... oh, that's pretty bold for a Dark Templar, but... oh, that was a very good shot. And these 2 Reavers, doesn't really look like Cherry Pie has got an answer to Reavers. Now 3 Reavers, this base in tatters, that base is still there. The Corsair is going to find it, which will mean it will be probably be attacked by a couple of Zealots too. and Banana Brain is rolling. The main for Zerg still got some juice left in it. The natural is completely overrun. There are too many Protoss forces. Although Zerg is fighting hard with the Mutas and the Storms are not fully implemented yet, there is just too much firepower at the Protoss end of things for Zerg to make any kind of meaningful difference. Now Protoss going for yet another base, immediately throwing up 2 turrets to help and defend. 74 workers, the main must be out, the natural must be getting low, and more Reavers are being crawled over to the enemy base, and that's just such a lot of DPS. And upgrade wise, +3 is done, and all the upgrades are coming in. So the question is, or will be for the near future, how well will Banana Brain play when Storm is done and all the higher tech units get incorporated into his game? So without further ado, and that question will be answered later, I thought, well, let's see how Crazio is doing versus its old adversary TSCMU. And TSCMU, of course, as Cherry Pie will be participating in AIIDE, TSCMU and Purple Wave will not. You cannot have more bots per coder. And as TSCMU and Dan are on the Cherry Pie team, that will yet to be seen how well that's going to pan out. If there were some kind of a betting thing, I would bet heavily on Cherry Pie, because with these 2 guys and of course the rest of the team and the determination of Facebook to win, it's just going to be a hellishly difficult bot to beat, I think. Crazio will not be participating in AIIDE. Crazio does not really like the concept of making its bot open source. So that will be a pity, because it's still the dominant bot on the ladder. And now we'll have this bunker over here. Crazio going for a defensive structure with a couple of spider mines. Nice pair of mines over here. And TSMU random. Of course, Road Terran is taking its sweet time. Just going to do things off one base and going for some kind of a contain. So Crazio is more economically way ahead. 2 bases against 1. TSCMU isn't even starting its natural yet, but TSCMU has got the contain going, and that's a lot of vultures. So Crazio will have to work very hard to get out of there, building some depots at the edge of the base to get more vision, building some turrets, playing it very safe, but that means delaying. Is there a factory yet? Yes, there are 2 factories, so it should be okay. And now the vultures are just going for it. They're killing a lot of workers. The bunker is firing as fast as it can, but TSCMU is doing a ton of damage to the workers and is also killing the turret. So finally Crazio rocking up with a couple of siege tanks, and that's just right on time. Lost a lot of workers. And TSCMU leaving this eBay fly, and TSCMU is doing okay. He's got double the army supply, has got more workers, and the natural will be done momentarily, so that's pretty good. Crazio's got 1 tank, is killing the power generators to make its base less safe. What with all these vultures roaming about. And TSCMU's getting into macro mode. Worker-wise, Crazio stabilizing, army-wise, not so much yet. Oh, and losing a tank to 2 spider mines, that's pretty sloppy. TSCMU having great vision with all the mines at these bridges over here, so knows exactly what's moving out of Crazio's base. And of course nice minefield over here, so TSCMU seems to have the edge on this game and is bringing up a siege tank of its own. And these bridges are a very good defensive position. No third yet, and TSCMU is long distance mining for some reason from this base. Should have the money to build a command center. Quick repair by 3 SCVs, and TSCMU's worker count is okay. So perhaps if the worker count is more than 20 per base, they go out and see if they can long distance mine from somewhere. Crazio now is trying to set up shop, trying to keep this path clean and not to get contained at the bridges. There are 2 tanks, there are 2 rates of TSCMUs, and TSCMU's tanks are sieging, unsieging, so this is a very unstable sort of situation. TSCMU with the army lead, no, that's going to be a base. TSCMU going for a third, Crazio as well, but this third will be in range of TSCMU's tanks relatively quickly. And Crazio has got a lower tank count, so you can see TSMU leapfrogging its tanks slowly but surely into range of the choke and of the third. So that is really a very precarious third, and now it's under tank fire, and that's not a good thing, let me tell you. And Crazio is on the back foot, and quite a bit. TSMU's third will be nearly done, long distance mining from this mineral only still. And going for some kind of building over here, killing this power generator without splash damage is not the best idea. I think there must be about 10 of them stacked over there. But now TSMU's got the contain and has got the air vision in its control with the wraiths and of course the anti-air damage of the Goliath. So Crazio has got this exit over here, but is pretty badly contained. TSMU isn't even bringing SCVs to help him defend. So now Crazio getting some back, cleaning up the tanks, slowly but surely, and going with a couple of Matrix Goliaths. That's always nice to have. And Crazio has broken out, not before TSMU has started a fourth though, and third has been operational for quite some time with another comsat, and oh dear, another base. So yes, TSMU is really getting into its stride. Crazio taking another base over here, that's well done. Main getting low, TSMU's main getting low as well, but TSMU has got such a lot of map control. It's at this point rather unfair, although Crazio's got an equal army supplies, down in workers and more importantly down in base. This base is not yet up, and there are vultures of TSMU's over the base of Crazio. The SCV gets killed before the base is completed, and now the vultures with the raids are trying to, and although Crazio's got a nice army, it can't really for some reason defend as well as it ought to. And this base is not yet operational while the main is mining out, and that is going to be costly for Crazio. TSMU is, well, it's there with a smaller army actually, but I feel it's more responsive and more in control of the game. Again, Crazio is in the propinquity of getting contained at its own natural, and that's never a good idea. Oh well, if you can help it, but you see the problem here. TSMU is now catching up in supply, building production everywhere. Tech buildings over here, no production, oh well, one factory over here, always good to have, and taking another base. So Crazio with the back to the wall, trying to get out of here, but with these two tanks and the air forces of TSMU, it's very hard for Crazio to move out, and TSMU isn't even using that many SCVs to repair its tanks in front lines. This SCV was very brave, but Crazio just can't get out for the life of it, and this base is now operational, sort of. Handful of SCVs there, but compared to the economical might of TSMU, oh, that's a pretty sweet drop. That's pretty well done. They can't be reached. They can be killed, however, and there they go. But as far as drops go, that's pretty neat. This tank cleaned up what was in the main, probably. I don't know. So TSMU, it would be marvelous to see TSMU bots updated as well. I don't know how hard TSMU is working on Cherry Pie, but oh, now with a battle cruiser. Hello, did you see that? TSMU with 100 army supply, Crazio only 75, natural low. This base completely overrun by vultures, and this is the end for Crazio, because although there are 400 and 500 resources still left, everything that gets killed cannot be replenished, and there are battle cruisers galore. All the anti-air has been killed. This base completely hammered into the ground, and TSMU proving it's a contender in TVT land, and that is not easy at all. And either Crazio doesn't really recognize how to play against a random race, which is Terran, or it uses a general build order. And oh, that was a Yamato on a science vessel. That was pretty neat. And TSMU now getting stuck over here for some reason, but I think it will not be long before this is over, because the natural's out, the main is out, Crazio is starved, TSMU is maxed, got lots of money in the bank, And although Crazio still got 72 army supply, well, 70, it's over. So, let me end this week by saying good luck, have fun to everyone participating in AIIDE, and AIIDE going off as well. TSMU taking its sweet time, lots of tanks, lots of battle cruisers, and Crazio can't tap out yet, but will have to very soon. TSMU just taking all the bases, and well, that's very well played by our Norwegian Terran. So, thank you everyone who has been coding these beautiful AIs. I haven't received a single recommendation this week, which is very sad, but I hope I have picked some very interesting games to show you. This will take a while, but will end one day or another. Crazio is losing units one at a time. So I'm going to say GG, thank you for watching, hope to see you again next week, and have a good week.